Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. First and foremost, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai Barakathum. To the hopefully elect. And I had to do this video, man, because I mentioned this before about going into a World War III update, and pretty much every time I'm about to get to it, you know, it's just more information coming out concerning these wars and rumors of wars, you know, because there's a lot going on, man, you know. So I have a series of videos I'm going to play, all right, and I'm also going to speak on, because like I said, it's just so much, going on right now. You know, I don't want to be here just playing videos all day. I think I got like 4 videos that I want to play, but I'm also going to speak on some other issues going on concerning, you know, these wars and rumors of wars. So I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. Lord's will, can actually get through this and finish it up. So without further ado, this first video I'm going to play, going into, are we on the brink of war? And yes, we are on the brink of war. All right, and that's why I read Matthew 24 and 6. All right, because dealing with the rumors. All right. Matter of fact, let me read it one more time. Matthew 24 and 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. Yeah, because even when when this thing pops off, you see a lot of people when you talk about World War III. All right. For a lot of people, they think that's the end all be all. All right, when that's not the case, because once World War III takes place, and when it goes nuclear, because we're pretty much already in World War, you know, war's war. It's not to the point where it's nuclear yet. All right, but once it goes nuclear, when the dust settles, that's when the kingdom is going to be established. So for the most part, to the elect, all right, the hopefully elect, we've got nothing to worry about. But you see these people not knowing the scriptures and not knowing prophecy and how it's supposed to play out. Like I said, when you talk about these things concerning World War III, like I said, they think it's the end all be all, but we know that it's not. It's not so. It's just the beginning. All right. Reading on, it says, "For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So again, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, because there's certain things, like I said, before it actually goes nuclear, there's certain things that had to play out. And one of the major things being, of course, the charagma, which, you know, that they're making that a thing now. They're starting to talk about that now. All right. So there's certain things that have to play out before this war actually goes nuclear. All right. So like I said, I'm gonna try to get through this as quick as possible. So without further ado, and bear with the commercials.
Find your next customer with Facebook ads. Facebook Ads Manager.
We're deeply concerned by evidence that Russia has made plans for significant aggressive moves against Ukraine. The plans include efforts to destabilize Ukraine from within, as well as large-scale military operations.
A nightmare scenario of military confrontation has returned to Europe. Moscow categorically will not accept the transformation of the countries neighboring Russia into a military foothold.
In a dialogue with the United States and its allies, we will insist on working out specific agreements that would exclude any further NATO moves eastward and the deployment of weapon systems that threaten us in close vicinity to Russian territory.
NATO's presence in this region is absolutely defensive. It's something that was triggered by the aggressive actions of Russia.
I want to make it clear. Turning our neighbouring countries into bridgeheads of confrontation with Russia and deploying NATO forces in direct proximity to areas of strategic importance for our security is categorically unacceptable.
I have stated several times now, there will be a high price to pay for Russia if they once again use force against the independent sovereign nation, Ukraine.
NATO refuses to constructively examine our proposals to de-escalate tensions and avoid dangerous incidents.
We are prepared to impose severe costs for further Russian aggression in Ukraine. NATO is prepared to reinforce its defenses on the eastern flank.
This is more than serious for us. In this situation, we are taking adequate military technical measures, but I repeat, we are not threatening anyone.
Which is technically true, because here it is, like I said, or like they said, or pretty much, NATO is basically claiming Russia to be the aggressor, when Russia, they're moving, they're conducting these military drills and you know, moving their military throughout their own land. So, you know, pretty much what Putin said, you know, he was pretty much right. He's not, you know, he's not bothering anyone. He's you know, moving about on his own territory. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you see, NATO, they just basically want to stir up conflict, which, you know, ultimately it's all Yahweh Shema Shai, because, you know, he's the one that's mustering the host to the battle. You know, he's the one that's, you know, stirring things up in the minds of these different leaders, right? But pretty much, man, hey, Russia and NATO threatening each other, all right, and Russia, you know, threatening NATO allies, you know, going back and forth with America, you know, Russia conducting all type of military drills, you know, near the borders of Ukraine, which, you know, the pretty much the Ukraine, man, they want to join NATO. You know, they want to align with NATO. They want to become a part of NATO, right? And Russia, they don't want that, right? And like I said, it was just this, you know, back and forth between these nations, right? Because if you don't know, America actually backs the Ukraine. All right. So like I said, with America, you know, pretty much putting their 2 cents in, which they have no business, you know, America, you know, and you see, that's the thing with Babylon, man, you know, pretty much dipping their nose. They basically, they need to mind their own business. All right. NATO as well, you know, because like I said, what Russia is doing, they're not, you know, they're not doing anything wrong. You know, they're conducting these drills, everything that they're doing, they're pretty much doing it in their own territory, you know. But, you know, these guys, they're just looking to pick a fight. And like I said, ultimately, it's Yahweh Shema Shai. He's the one that's stirring the minds up of these different leaders. All right. But amid all this tension between NATO, America, and Russia, right, I'm going to play this video here. And just bear through the commercials.
Tensions between Russia and the West are at an all-time high. And upping the hostile rhetoric, Russia has said that it may in fact be forced to deploy intermediate-range nuclear missiles in Europe. This is because Moscow believes that NATO in fact plans to do the same. The warning from Russia's deputy minister has in fact raised the risk of a new nuclear arms race, potential nuclear arms race on the continent, especially if the West were to decline to join Russia in suspending the intermediate-range nuclear forces in Europe. Now, this is a part of a package of security guarantees that Moscow is seeking in return for defusing the crisis over Ukraine. But Russia has warned that a lack of diplomatic or political solution will prompt it to respond militarily to any kind of NATO's deployment of these intermediate-range nuclear missiles. Russian President Vladimir Putin also spoke to the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. While Johnson asked Vladimir Putin to de-escalate the tensions with Ukraine, Putin in turn told Boris Johnson that it was NATO that was threatening Russia by expanding its activities in Ukraine. The call has come just a day after G7 meeting, where the group has warned Moscow of massive consequences, financial consequences that is, if it were to carry out a ground invasion into Ukraine. Meanwhile, the European Union has imposed sanctions on a group of private Russian military contractors who allegedly committed human rights abuses in the Middle East, Africa and Ukraine. EU ministers agreed to freeze assets and also impose a travel ban on people involved in the Wagner Group.
The activities of this group reflects the Russia hybrid warfare. They present a threat and create instability in a number of countries around the world. So the sanctions will cover the Wagner Group itself, 3 companies with links to this group, and 8 individuals responsible for serious human rights abuses or destabilizing activities in Ukraine, in Syria, in Libya, in Central African Republic, in Sudan, and Mozambique.
Now, US intelligence has assessed that Russia could in fact be planning a multi-frontal offensive on Ukraine by as early as January next year. Kremlin denies plans of any ground invasion and has accused the West of Russophobia. All is now available in your country.
So, again, just adding to, this, the fueling tension, all right, because supposedly there was some intel that came out about this plan for Russia to invade the Ukraine, right? And of course, Russia, they're denying it, but basically, like I said, due to all this tension and everyone's blaming one another and this back and forth, pretty much everyone's starting to pretty much point their guns towards one another. That's pretty much what's going on. All right, as it says here, Russia threatens to deploy nuclear missiles in Europe amid tensions in Ukraine. So, and they feel that they're doing that. They're doing that because they feel that, hey, they're if put it like this, I'm just trying to think of a visual, right? Here it is. You're walking down the street, right? You're walking down the street. You're walking down a dark alley. Well, you walking down an alley, all right. And you're packing heat. You're carrying, right. And you see another individual. He's walking in the opposite direction. You two walk past each other. Because Jake, man. When it comes to Jake, you make eye contact. That's a Jake. They want to get all big and bad and whatnot, because that's a for Jake to make eye contact with Jake that's a sign of disrespect. So 2 individuals, they're walking down, they walk past each other, right? And he's carrying 2, he's packing 2, right? And you 2 make eye contact, and basically y'all are staring each other down, right? And how Jake do, man. They start getting all big and bad and sticking the chest out and start talking shit or whatnot, right? You see him moving his hand towards his gun, all right? You're gonna move your hand towards your gun, right? And you pretty much whoever pulls first, that's pretty much what's taking place right now. Everyone's moving their guns, pointing their guns towards one another, due to all this tension, right? So go to the next video, all right? Because again, well, I don't know if I mentioned about, because actually Russia has actually been, they're testing the I think it was like a sea-based missile, supposedly it's like the 9 times the speed of what is it, sound, I think they said, and everyone's testing these missiles, I believe Iran, I think I have a video, that's the last video I got queued up, but Iran is also testing these ballistic missiles to basically, because Israel, and that's another thing, because that's pretty much where this World War III, that's pretty much where it's going to start cracking, that's when it's going to pop off, when Israel and Iran start going at it, all right, because there was another airstrike, I think it was an airstrike on a nuclear facility in Iran, because if you don't know, Israel, they pretty much want to be the only ones to possess that type of weaponry in that area. So they're like, by all costs, they don't want Iran to have any type of missiles. All right. So supposedly there was a nuclear facility, another one, because this has been going on. All right, another nuclear facility struck in Iran, which they're blaming Israel, and of course Israel's denying it, right? You know, but let me get through these videos, man. Play this video right here, because again, everyone's conducting these war games, these war drills, all right? You know, these large-scale drills and things of that nature, because, hey, everything is gearing towards a war's war, man. You know, World War III is prophesied in the Bible. It's going to break out, all right? So I'm going to play this video here.
Drinking water before bed burns 46 pounds in 2 weeks. If you are struggling to lose weight and you're over 20... U.S. successfully tests new attack plan. All of China's coastal strongholds are within range. A media channel posted a video showing a successful demonstration of the Rapid Dragon system. The U.S. Air Force used MC-130J Super Hercules airdrops carrying cruise missiles to hit the target. The cruise missile was removed from the tray during the test, flew to the correct location, and successfully hit the target. Lockheed Martin is a global security and aerospace company doing significant business with the U.S. Department of Defense and U.S. federal government agencies. The company said Rapid Dragon is a fast-paced U.S. Air Force strategic development planning and experimentation program. It is a collaboration between the U.S. Air Force Laboratory and Lockheed Martin. The Rapid Dragon was developed to turn a military transport aircraft, an MC-130J airdrop, into an air-launched missile system that offers strike capabilities. The advantage of the Rapid Dragon system is that the airdrop can still turn into a considerable bomber squadron of the U.S. Air Force in the shortest time without any modification. It can shorten the training process for Allied forces using the same aircraft to support U.S. military battlefield deployments that are entirely unpredictable to the enemy. The video also shows that the AGM-158 JASSM long-range attack missile can be used in a live-fire battle, with a range of more than 1,000 kilometers. Therefore, if there is a conflict between the United States and China, transport aircraft can take off from Guam or Hawaii. Almost all of China's coastal strongholds are within range when using the Rapid Dragon system. This could completely change the form of warfare in the future. Information from the video also adds that, in early 2022, the US C-17 Globemaster transport aircraft will be used to test live ammunition. The U.S. Air Force is expected to transform the U.S. Air Force airdrop into a lethal strike weapon when needed within the next 2 years.
So yeah, just to take a shift a little bit, and of course it's no coincidence they use the term dragon, all right, this Rapid Dragon system, all right, you know, because Esau, you know, he is he's that serpent, man. But nevertheless, like I said, just to shift a little bit, all right, because this test that they conducted, all right, supposed to be against China, and actually, all right, I don't know this guy's name, man. Putin and basically the China's president, or whatever they call him, all right, the leader, which this is a concern for some nations, all right, because basically Russia and China, they're forming some type of an alliance, and they're actually conducting joint Navy drills, all right, which, like I said, that's you know, putting fear into some nations, you know, some countries, all right, because hey, man, right now China and Russia, man, they're like the top dogs right now, you know. Supposedly both nations, they were testing hypersonic missiles, which of course they denied, all right, and you know, of course, everyone's scared and shook up about that. And actually, I was reading something about how Russia's building a pipeline to China. All right, I got to look into that. I'll see what that's about. But yeah, man, like I said, Russia and China, they're conducting joint Navy drills, all right, and another thing, because Japan, right, they're seeing this, because you know, some of those drills are being conducted over there near Japan. They're seeing all this, right, and Japan, which is another ally to America, they've been conducting military drills and you know, demonstrating their firepower. You know, they're conducting large scale drills and things of that nature as well. You know, and you know, they're talking about Taiwan is preparing to sink Chinese ships, and it's just a lot going on right now. You know, I don't know if I mentioned how Russia's testing cruise missiles and you know, as well as Iran. All right. You know, so I mean, it's just a lot going on right now, man. Iran conducting military drills and defense drills, air drills, and you know, it's a lot going on right now, man. You know, because hey, Yahweh Shemal Shai, he's leading these nations towards World War III. All right, and also I wanted to speak on because there's talks about India actually purchasing, I think it's S-500. I think that's air defense systems from Russia, right? You know, and they're also testing I think it was long-range supersonic missiles or torpedoes or something along those lines. You know, so hey, you know, everybody's pretty much, the stage is being set to where these nations, they're pretty much picking their sides. You know, choosing. You know, everyone's, you know, getting. You know, the Lord is moving the chess pieces. All right, that's pretty much, you know, that's ultimately what's going on. You know, the Lord is moving the chess pieces. Everyone's picking sides, you know. And hey, man, the spirit of Yahweh Shemal Shai is moving, man. You know, because hey, we're in the time of war. You know, but we get a few precepts. I'm gonna start in what is that? Joel. So beautiful times that we're in, man. Beautiful times that we're in, because again, the talks of World War III, you know, it makes people nervous. It makes people afraid. All right, because now, you know, hey, everyone has these so-called weapons of mass destruction. But again, it's not the end-all be-all. All right, when we hear these things, we get excited. All right, because again, we know and understand that when it does go nuclear, this is when Yahweh Shai is going to crack forth through the clouds, and the elect, those who are part of that number, are going to get delivered. All right. Matter of fact, there's a precept came to mind, but I'm gonna read this verse in Joel chapter 3. I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat," or Yehoshaphat, all right, Yahweh's judgment, "and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." So basically, again, because the Lord is ultimately the one that's starting the minds of these different leaders, he's gearing them, he's leading them towards World War III. All right, because when all hell, when this World War does break out, all right, the Lord is going to, well, when this war does break out, all right, these nations, they're going to go over there to the Middle East, or the valley of Jehoshaphat, and that's where they're going to receive their judgment for what they did to the people of Yahweh Shemal Shai. So this is what the Lord's starting up. Like I said, the Lord, he's the ultimate, the mastermind. He's the ultimate chess player, man. All right, but I'm gonna jump down to verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. All right, so this is what's taking place. All right, matter of fact, when you read verse 10, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. All right, so, and again, this is what you see going on. All right, you know, like I mentioned, with the India purchasing the S-500s from Russia. I don't know if they actually did it, but they were talking about it, right? You know, and all these other things, man. You know, hey, everyone's getting geared up for World War III. All right, everyone's purchasing the missiles and the defense systems, and you know, things that they could be, you know, the money that they could be putting towards their economies, and you know, things like that. They're putting it towards war. Like I said, purchasing these defense systems, and you know, doing all these deals with one another. All right, the Lord is gearing these nations up for World War III, because again, this is a time of war. All right, but to the hopeful elect, we've got nothing to worry about, because this is going to henceforth bring forth our deliverance. Lord's War, part of that number. All right. I'm gonna get this in Matthew, not Matthew, I read that. Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51, I'm going to start at verse 45. It says, "My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver ye every man his own soul from the fierce anger of the Lord. And lest your heart faint, and ye fear for the rumor that shall be heard in the land. A rumor shall both come 1 year, and after that in another year shall come a rumor." All right, because, for a long time, starting with the apostles, man, been talking about World War III, been talking about these things. All right, it's been a rumor for, year in and year out. All right. But eventually, hey, eventually it's going to happen. It's going to take place. All right. Eventually, this world war, man, is going to break out, and all war is going to break out. And when you read on, it says, "And violence in the land, ruler against ruler." All right. So, hey, this is the time to be, like I said, not in the spirit of fear. All right. Because, hey, like I said, this is going to bring forth our deliverance. Lord's War, part of that number. All right, so we've got nothing to worry about. We got nothing to fear. We want this to happen. We can't wait for War's War to break out, man. We can't wait for it to go nuclear. All right, So hey, when it comes to these wars and rumors of wars, don't fret. Don't be afraid. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get this. I'm going to get this verse, Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 1. "Come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth out of it." Yeah, because I often talk about how, hey, the Lord has a message for everyone, all nations. All right, it's just some, one message, every message is not the same message, because again, concerning the Israelites, and more specifically the saints, the elect. All right, hey, repent, for the kingdom is at hand. All we got to do is repent, get ourselves right with the Lord, man, get on his good sides, and Lord's War, we've been given that grace. But to these nations, the message is not the same. All right. So the Lord has a message for all the, for all 18 nations. All right. And when you go into this chapter, it pretty much goes into that. I'm gonna read verse 2. It says, "For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter." So again, this is what's ultimately going to take place when the Lord, when a world war does break out. All right, and those nations go over there to the Middle East, and they fight. They're going to fight each other. All right, and when Yahushai cracks forth through them clouds, they're going to try to fight Yahushai. But that's going to be that's not even going to be it's like putting a baby in the ring with Mike Tyson, man. It's just going to be just very it's not even going to be fair, man. But hey, this is what's written. This is what's set to take place, man. The Lord's going to appear, and you see, because some of the prophets like Ezra, they seen what's going to take place. They seen the judgment. They seen this indignation, this wrath, right? Was it tell you in the second Ezra, man, how there was nothing to be perceived but dust and smoke, man, roughly paraphrasing it, going into the judgment of what actually takes place when they're over there in the Middle East. And not only that, because, hey, this is when America's going to get completely obliterated, man. All these nations, they're going to fight one another, but eventually, man, all these nations are going to shoot their missiles at America, all right? Even America's allies, you read about that in the book of Obadiah, all right? All those that were Confederate with Esau, all right, they're going to say, the hell with America, and they're going to shoot their missiles over here as well, all right? But again, concerning this, man, for the elect, they got nothing to worry about, man. I'm going to read this real quick in Isaiah 26, because, this is the last plague, the 7th plague, all right? And we're in between the 6th and the 7th plague, all right? Again, the 7th plague being those missiles, all right? But again, once this is taking place, while this is taking place, because this is going to be a simultaneous event, as those missiles get shot forth, And World War III breaks out. In the climax of World War III, the missiles are going to get shot out. Yahweh is going to crack forth through the clouds. The elect are going to be getting delivered. It's going to be one hell of a day, man. It's going to be a very chaotic day. All right, so, and that's going to be the seventh plague. This is, you know, like I said, we're in between the sixth and the seventh plague right now. Show you how close we are. All right, but I'm gonna read this in Isaiah 26 and verse 20. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." And this is also me talking about when the elect get delivered into those chariots, because we don't want to get left here when those missiles hit. You know, like I said, it's going to be a simultaneous event. The elect, as the missiles are coming down, the elect are going to be getting delivered. All right, throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, so the chambers is going into the chariots. All right, and reminds me of this here in Revelation, when it says, Revelation 18 and 4, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." And ultimately, what is this talking about? The elect getting delivered, getting beamed up in the chariots, and again, the plague going into those missiles. All right, you know, because as those missiles are coming down, the elect are going to be getting delivered. This is what all this is going to lead. This is what all this is leading towards. All right, the judgment of America, Babylon the Great. All right, and the deliverance of the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, so yeah, going back to Isaiah 26 and 20 one more time. "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." All right, because hey, this is going to be like the new Passover. All right, because again, the elect, they're going to be getting as those missiles are coming down, the elect are going to be getting, they're going to pass over. All right, the missiles, because the scriptures talk about how the righteous are scarcely going to be saved. You know, so hey, you know, missiles going to be coming down, man, and it might not look good for you. You know, missile might be heading right towards you in your direction, or you might be in the vicinity of one of those missiles. Right, it may not look good, but hey, you know, it's like it, man. There's a bunch of demons out here, but hey, man, you know, if you hold fast until the very end, then hey, if you're of the elect, I should say, you're gonna get delivered, man. You're gonna get I'm trying to figure out, because Apostle Gabar uses this term, abducted. You're gonna get abducted by the chariot. All right. So with that, I'm going to play this last video, because I just thought the visuals, you know, it perfectly lines up. But this is what I was talking about with what was it? Iran basically threatening Israel, right? Supposedly there was like they came out like a target. It was like a map of certain targets in Israel, right? That, you know, Iran was threatening to you know, fire upon or whatnot, right? But basically this video here, you know, I'm just going to play this video, you know, and end it off there. So, you know, I hope this was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Shemel Shai, Barakatam to the hopefully elect. Lord's willing, until next time, Shalom.